Good afternoon and welcome to the ALHCS 2021 Careers Fair. We are live from the Rodney McArthur Ray Auditorium, Campus B, and I can tell you it is a hive of activities. We've had numerous forms passing through the career fair throughout the day, and right now we are featuring the fifth form. And we are going to start going around so that you, our virtual audience, can experience this wonderful careers fair as well. Let us start somewhere that has been buzzing all day with a hive of activity, and it is the Royal Anguilla Police Force. They have multiple divisions represented here, and we're going to give you an inside look as to what they are presenting at the ALHCS Careers Fair 2021. We have a little bit of camera shyness here, but we're going to go ahead and get started. PRO. Hi, good afternoon. We are live on Facebook with the Department of Education's coverage of the ALHCS 2021 Careers Fair. And we thought it would only be fitting to start with the Royal Anguilla Police Force simply because this booth has been a hive of activity from morning. So you must be presenting something that is attracting the attention of the young people. Can you give us some inside information as to what that is?
The booth has been buzzing since morning. As you can see, we are showcasing various aspects of the Royal Anguilla Police Force. If you look out here, you would see over here, so you might want to angle yourself. If you look over here, you can see we have here our motorcycles. This is most times what you find the traffic department use, or sometimes we may use it if we have any to do any escort duty. So you might have an outrider out. This is a motorcycle. We have our pedal bikes at the back, which we normally use to do community patrols and stuff like that to create a more visibility within the community. What we have over here now, we showcase some of the departments. So here we have different flyers representing the different departments that would give you basic information. So if you want to have a look at this one, as you can see, this one represents the Safeguarding Investigation Unit. And they tell you all about what the Safeguarding Investigation Unit is about, how you report an offense and stuff like that. So you can hold on to this one because it might have some vital information for you. And this one would give you some information as to the entire breakdown of the Royal Anguilla Police Force. So you see we have the different departments here, the Criminal Investigation Department, and then you have the Major Crime Unit, which is part of that department, the Crime Intelligence Unit, the Digital Forensics. So this is just a breakdown as to all of the different departments within the Royal Anguilla Police Force. If you come this way, down here, we would have, oh sorry, if you come this way, we have here the traffic department, and maybe sometimes you're on the road and you might be over the speed limit and stuff like that, and you might see the officer out. So here, Officer Gomes would give you a little more insight as to what he's displaying here that is used by the traffic department.
Good afternoon, Officer Gomes.
Good afternoon.
You're
Good
live
afternoon.
on Facebook for the Department of Education's coverage of the ALHCS Careers Fair 2021. First of all, your PRO gave us some really good insights because as a member of the public, we just know that the Royal Anguilla Police Force exists, but the different breakdowns of the units and the divisions inside is not really good, is not knowledgeable throughout the community. So here we are at the traffic unit. Is it called the unit?
Well, I'm reporting on behalf of traffic and beat and patrol.
Traffic and beat and patrol.
And
And those are two different things which I'm sure
Yes.
you're about to tell me.
Yes.
So go ahead and let me know what's the difference between the two.
So basically, the beat and patrol is the heart of policing. It all starts with beat and patrol. What would happen is we would get a report via phone or whether a person come to the station. They would start with beat and patrol. And depending on the situation, it may be a robbery, it may be an accident, even a murder. Depending on the nature of it, you would dispatch the relevant department. You have the tactical department, you have major crime department, you have volume crime that deals with smaller offenses like burglaries and etc. etc. Then you have the traffic department, and then you still have the scenes of crime department. So it's many departments. It all depends on the nature, which starts from the beat and patrol.
Okay, so the beat and patrol is basically the dispatchers of the entire Royal Anguilla Police
Yes.
Force. All right, well, traffic department might be more well known to a lot of people. You
Yes.
know, those, I guess these are the people that give you the speeding tickets,
Yes.
check to see if your license is up to date and all of those things. So, yes, let me know all of these lovely gadgets that you have here. What do you
You wanna
use them
hold it?
for? Ooh, I
Wanna hold
love
this?
holding gadgets.
So this is the speed gun. You're holding it around, see that?
Ooh.
This way, this way. Okay, yes.
Oh.
So let's picture the vehicle was going this way.
Mhm.
You'd squeeze the trigger, and that would pick up the radar, and then it would tell you exactly how fast the vehicle is going. If it's going over the speed limit by a certain amount, you give that person a ticket.
Okay, okay.
So that's
And this is
basically
in miles per hour, correct?
Yes.
All right. So how often would you say that we use this? Is this an everyday thing, or do we have specific times that we like to target, like a rush hour or early in the morning when you're speeding to get the kids to work?
You might not want to say that now.
Oh, you don't want to give us
I
that
plead the
inside
fifth. I plead the
information?
fifth.
I was trying for you guys. Okay.
So this now is a tint reader. So, lad, I'm working with one hand. So basically, it's two switches. So you see that it's on. This is one side. So just imagine that you have a window. Your side windows, passenger and driver. So this is the window. You put it on the side, on the left hand side, and then you put this on the right hand side.
Oh, so like the inside and outside
Yes.
of the same glass.
So you make sure that it's on, and then you get your reading.
So
So
this
yes,
one says 100
This is
right
100,
now.
so that's
What is
okay.
the legal limit?
Well, it's 35% in the front glass and then
Mhm.
30% in the rear glass.
Okay.
Yes. So anything under that is an offense, a reportable offense, and you have to pay some
And
money to
something
the
like
court.
this, you would test for it in a traffic stop as well. That's how you
Yes,
do that?
yes.
Okay.
Right now, we're trying to get down on it because a lot of persons, is driving on the road with some really, really dark things. So we're trying
I am
to...
happy to say I'm not one of those offenders.
Thank you, thank you.
And our sexual, our safeguarding department officers here, so he will tell you a little more detail about what he does on the department.
Mike. Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Detective Douglas. I am a member of the Safeguarding Investigations Unit. Now, this unit is comprised of only a few officers. Three, actually. Well, four, sorry, of which I am the only male. Because depending on the situation we have, some persons, they tend to prefer a male over a female. But in the event of whatever you require, we have it. Okay? Now, the Safeguarding Unit, it was created a few years ago. The basis behind it is to basically protect vulnerable individuals. Now, those individuals could be kids who are underage and can't really make decisions for themselves, or adults who, on the same page, cannot make decisions for themselves. Okay, so the unit, it deals with a number of issues. We cover domestic violence, domestic abuse, rape, sexually related offenses, everything along that line.
And when you say that you cover it, do you deal with prevention or consequences in this unit?
Well, it all depends. If there's a, based on the situation, if we are given the information early, we can do what we can to prevent it. But in the event that we do get it after the fact, we will do what we can to make the offenders.
Okay. All right. So the thing about it is, we didn't know, again, like I said before, that there were different departments. So on a whole in Anguilla, I'm not sure people know that there is a breakdown of the different offenses. We just learned that Beat and Patrol is the dispatcher, and it was sent to the different departments. So in terms of Anguilla's demographic, how often do you think a guarding unit has to really spring into action in terms of consequences?
As of recently, very often.
Oh.
The CID department, it is broken up into a number of groups. Okay, we don't only have the Safeguarding Investigations Unit. We have the VCU unit, which deals with volume crime. We have the Major Crimes Unit, which deal with most serious crimes, such as robbery and murders. Okay, as you can see here, we have just a little something on display as it relates to the imitation firearms. Sorry. As it relates to imitation firearms. So as you see, it looks very real. It looks very real. Okay, so we cover everything.
Thank you so much. Is it detective or officer? Detective Douglas. Thank you. It was a very informative presentation. And we are still working with the Royal Anguilla Police Force display. And we are over here. I hope their PRO can tell me what all of this is, because it's a little overwhelming when you step over here. Can you give us some insight as to which department this is?
We have our senior crime scene investigator, Miss Hodge, and she's gonna the fittest person to tell you all what goes on.
Okay, so we're handing over to Miss Hodge, our senior crime scene investigator.
Good afternoon. So what we have here is a small display of some of the stuff that we offer, some of the equipment that we use. So to begin with, we have a variety of packaging that we use. So we have paper and plastic, and you use it depending on what it is you're looking for from the evidence. So anything that's DNA based will have to go in paper. Your plastic we'll use for anything else. We have, here is a buccal swab kit, which you'd use for DNA, suspect DNA, and then this kit we would use for victims' DNA and then use them for comparison. This is some examples of the types of tape that we use for sealing packaging, your normal measuring tape, other containers that we use for various items. These stickers we use for blood spatter stains, so you can get the measurement in with the picture. We have a number of chemicals and powders that we use for fingerprints. So we have ninhydrin, which develops fingerprints a nice purple color. And then we also have small particle reagents, light and dark. So if you want to get fingerprints off of vehicles, like after it's been wet, because obviously you can't use a brush on a wet surface. And then for any other surface that's non-porous, we can use these powders. On our porous surfaces, we normally use our magnetic powders, and they come in a variety of colors depending on the surface that you're looking at. So I have this one. Oh, there we go. There's a green one, there's a blue one under here. So we had the students putting their fingerprints on some paper and using the wand. So outside of that, we also work on major scenes. So we deal with the bodies from scene, and then we assist the pathologists at autopsies. So we bought a little bit of the stuff that we use. This is a saw that we use for autopsies. This is what's normal in autopsy kits: containers for samples, face shields, your goggles, your full suit. As Miss Jada is demonstrating back here, this is the full gear that we wear when we're processing scenes. This black screen back here, we also use that if we're on a scene and we want to obscure the body from view and we have to walk on it there. We use that, and we also have a full white tent that has the sides, but we decided not to put it up today and just have an open area for today. So burglaries, sometimes there are tool impressions. So we have this kit, this AccuTrans kit, where we can use, it's like a silicone, and you can take an impression of the scratch mark or even fingerprints. So you can lift fingerprints with this. Now for major crimes, when we are looking for any type of bodily fluids or fibers, if it is something that we necessarily don't want to get wet, then we will use these lights. So these are crime lights, and they come in different wavelengths of light: blue, purple, green, depending on what type of fiber or which body fluid you're using. And they come with goggles. And these goggles are specific to the wavelength of light. It is to protect your eyes, because any one of these lights can cause blindness if you look at it with your naked eye. So we use those for body fluids and our fibers. And in instances where we will have situations where you may have cleaned up blood and you can't see it, it's not visible to the naked eye, then we will come in with our chemicals to look for blood. And the main one that we use is this one called Blue Star. It does not destroy DNA, and you do not need complete darkness in order to visualize it. So it could be something as just slightly shaded, and you'll spray, and then as long as it's human blood, it's gonna glow like that. And I can photograph it and swab it and then send it off for comparison. We do castings, foot impressions, and that stuff. Those metal plates are some of our stepping plates that we use if you have a really bloody scene, so that you don't be walking in your evidence. So you put them down, establish your safe path, and you process. You have your cones that you use to mark your evidence, and in scenes where it's not lit, brightly lit, then we have the lights that we utilize. Besides that, what we can't bring is our miniature lab, and in there we have super glue cabinets, we have fume hoods, drying cabinets, and a processing area where we can do the basis before we send stuff off to the lab. So some basic analysis. Not enough to certify in court, but enough to at least point us in the right direction, and then send for further verification.
Okay, well, I've been seeing children at this booth all day, and now I understand why there's a lot to take in. And in your department, how many people are currently working there?
Okay, in the forensics unit consists of 5 persons. The head of forensics is Mr. Duquesne Brooks, and then there's myself, Mrs. Esther Thomas Hodge. I'm a senior crime scene investigator, and then I have 3 other juniors, which is Kimon Charles, Leonardo Richardson, and Leon Christie, that work with me.
So when it comes to something like this, a careers fair, do you think that there's still room in Anguilla? Because I know it's probably a small department. Is there still room in Anguilla for a career in forensics?
I believe so, because forensics in itself is a very broad spectrum. So it doesn't necessarily have to be this aspect of it. It could be forensic odontology, it could be forensic pathology, it could be forensic psychology, right? Because you still need to figure out why people do what they do sometimes. So I would never say no, because we have so many species of plants and stuff that are unique to here. If we had a forensic botanist, and you had a scene here, and so only certain plants grow in West End, then we know we find that body in East End with certain flora or fauna on it, then it had to be in West End at some point. So I wouldn't say that there's not any room, because everything keeps advancing, everything keeps changing. and eventually we're going to need everybody. So,
Thank you, Ms. Hodges. It's been a very informative presentation.
You're
and
welcome.
I can see more kids coming by later this afternoon, so I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
And now we're going to move over to medical. And if you are thinking about a career in medicine, we have the various departments represented here as well. If you look, we can take a scan. They have a full display of all the equipment and the gadgets that they use in the medical field. So let's go over here to the information table. The display says to become a doctor. So I believe we're going to speak with a medical doctor now. Hi, we are live on the Department of Education Facebook page for the ALHCS Careers Fair 2021. And we just want you to give us some insight on what it is to become a doctor. What steps do I need to take? What subjects do I need to study? And just give us a little bit of a stepping stone guide.
Sure, no problem. So, being a doctor, I would say it's the greatest profession ever. Not because I'm in it, but because I'm passionate towards it. So, with regard to the steps of becoming a doctor, best if you think about it early. Like everybody knows, the sciences are important. So, biology, chemistry, physics. It depends on what route you want to go through. So, if you're going to go looking at the UE road, the UK road, or versus the US road. But for example, if you're going down the lines of UE and the UK, you'll be looking at doing your CAPE subjects in science and then going towards doing either an undergraduate if you're going down the US road, or doing then your A levels and then into medicine directly. It's a 5-year program. And yes, you do have to do well, but there's every opportunity that if you don't succeed the first time, you just keep on trying. It's a great profession.
Well, I want to address that because becoming a doctor is something that we often make it seem like it's far-fetched and like only the top of the top and the best and the brightest can get there. So what advice would you give to the variety of students that you're seeing today? Are you going to let them know that only a certain set of them can become doctors, or what advice have you been given?
So I was once given some really good advice by one of my seniors. He's one of the senior anaesthetists in the UK. And he said actually the most valuable doctor is one who's not done a direct path. So one who's gone from doing well in CAPE subjects and straight over into university directly. Having life experience is important. So that's where I would say, yes, if you're not 100% sure and you've knocked on other doors and somehow medicine has cropped up again and you now have that potential again, do explore it again. Mine was on a direct route. I did CAPE and then I did an undergraduate in medical genetics and then I did medicine. And I don't regret the path that I took. And many of my colleagues who've done well also don't have direct routes. So yes, it's the best of the best. But hard work doesn't come without sacrifice, and then if you don't succeed once, you just keep on trying.
Right, and I know that you would obviously get into medicine because of your direct care for people. But I know 2020 into 2021 has had a definite impact on the medical industry. So can you give us some personal insight into that?
Of course. I mean, here in Anguilla, we're privileged to be sheltered somewhat from the COVID pandemic in its most horrendous form. But I do have colleagues in the UK where I practiced before who have had the direct onslaught from the pandemic over there. And I think this is where, you separate the sheep from the goats, so to speak. This is where all the training comes into play. And this is where the passion for medicine and the passion for nursing and the passion for healthcare comes out to play, because you need to be there for your patients, you need to be there for your community, you need to be there for people. And I think it's a privilege to have that position, so that we can actually show that we're there for people in their time of need.
All right, and do you specify or specialize in a type of medicine here in Anguilla?
So here I work as a general practitioner, but my area of expertise is critical care and internal medicine. So I work between the clinics, the hospital, and on the ward. So you may see me everywhere
Okay.
within Health Authority.
And give us a timeline realistically for like a fifth, sixth form student who wants to become a doctor. How many years? And give us a breakdown of the process.
Okay. So like I said, there's your direct route. So just being as direct as possible. So doing your first 2 years of K, so that's 2 years there. And then if you're at UE, then 5 years of medicine, you graduate, you're a doctor. If you're then looking to do just general medicine, so just being a GP, that's those 7 years in total, plus another 2 years, and you're a general practitioner. If you're then looking to do family medicine or something of that ilk, that's another 3 years of specialization, so that's 10 years. If you're looking to do other specialties, then you can add on, instead of that 3, maybe 5, and it depends on where you train ultimately. So anywhere between 5 to 10 years, but it's a profession that's worthwhile, I would say.
And has that timeline scared away any of your students that have come to you?
Well, like your response of, oh boy, that's long. It's a commitment. When they say medicine is a lifelong learning, it's lifelong practice, it is. But it's something that you need to be passionate about, and you need to not be there for the money, not be there for the clouts that you think it brings. You just need to be there because you want to practice medicine, you want to be there for the people.
And before we leave you,
No
give us
problem.
your name.
I'm Robin Perkins Kentish. I'm one of the doctors at Health Authority, and it's a privilege to be here today speaking with you.
It was lovely and insightful speaking with you. Thank you.
No problem.
And continuing with our career in health, we are here, the Health Promotion Unit, and we're going to speak to Mrs. Jennifer Gomes, and she's going to give us some more insight into this career path.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Gomes. I'm the Senior Health Educator in the Health Promotion Unit, Health Authority of Anguilla. And this is my colleague, April Richardson, even though she do not like the camera. Our main goal at Health Promotion is to look at prevention of diseases, whether it's diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, those kind of diseases. We look at non-communicable diseases and communicable diseases. Also too, like we just had the COVID-19. Before Anguilla closed, we were able to educate the public, educate the children, workplaces in relation to hand hygiene. And now that we realize that there's a year into the COVID-19, we're looking at the uptake of the vaccine. So it is important for persons to know the information regarding the COVID-19 vaccine. And as you know that we're getting AstraZeneca, and it is important for the Anguillan public to take up the vaccine because we have been closed for over a year now. We have trusted the ministry to keep us safe, and now it is time for us to take up the vaccine, and we're asking persons, if you have any questions relating to the vaccine, ask your relative authorities, which is the Ministry of Health, because it's so important for persons to get the right information.
And that is so important that you brought up COVID-19 because I'm sure 2020 into 2021, all persons in your field would kind of be considered the superheroes of the island. And how was that pressure for you? Did you ever imagine that when you studied health that you would play such a prominent role in a time like this? Okay,
I always heard about epidemics and all those different things, but I never lived through a pandemic, and to really see how a pandemic could affect the whole world, I think it was quite educational for us. And I hope that sometimes you feel that you wish that you can go sleep and get up and it gone away. But it's something that we all have to work through.
Okay, and I'm sure that would inspire some people to want to become these superheroes themselves. So in the context of the career fair, what path would someone that wants to become something in the health industry have to take? What subjects? How long is the course of study? That kind of information. Can you
Okay.
give us
Well,
some
it is this is, in relation to my career path is health promotion unit, which means that I studied health promotion. I studied at the University of East London in England, and East London, and the course was for 3 years. It comprises of different courses: public health, epidemiology, different courses, and I studied there for 3 years. When I came back, I did my master's in public health. It's so important to have a master's in public health because public health, it touches all the different areas, whether it's looking at your stats, whether it's looking at epidemiology and all these different things. As we said before, our main goal is prevention because when you look at and that's primary care versus secondary care. When you look at secondary care, you're looking at just the treatment of a disease, which could be very expensive. But when you look at the prevention of the disease, it helps to take the burden off of society. It helps to take the burden off our government. So it is so important to look at prevention. But if persons already have the disease, it's so important to look at management of the disease, proper management, which looks at nutrition and physical activity.
Okay, and given the demographic of Anguilla, how much in demand is a career in your field right now, you would say?
It's very much in demand because when you look at right now, okay, we're going through a pandemic, right? And when we look at our diseases, the main disease in Anguilla is hypertension followed by diabetes. We have a very high prevalent rate of persons with underlying conditions. We had no COVID deaths, but we can look back and say if we had community spread, we would have had a lot of deaths because we have a lot of persons with underlying conditions. So it is so important to look at prevention. So at one point in my unit, there were only one person. Last year, we were able to fill that position and have a junior health educator. And it's so important because what I'm saying is we never can say enough because it's so important to get the word out. So it is so important for persons to know about what health promotion entails.
Right, and honestly, when you think about a career in health, a lot of people think medicine, right? But then you don't think about something like this. And so I think that it's really important that you're here today. And you've definitely done a good job of informing me. So
Okay.
I hope you see some more students coming
Okay,
towards
thank
the
you
booth
so
in the
much. Thank
future.
you.
Thank you. And we're approaching the education booth. So we're going to speak to a teacher, and that's perhaps the profession that we all come into contact with. So I'm eager to hear what it's like on the other side of the fence. Good afternoon. We're live on Facebook with the Department of Education coverage of the ALHCS 2021 Career Fair. All right. And can you just give us your name and let us know your profession, obviously? Teacher, I'm guessing.
Yes. I'm an English teacher. My name is Mrs. Connor.
Okay. And tell us about your presentation today. We've been hearing from the other booths, and they're basically letting us know what requirements, education-wise, the years, the training, the stepping stone path that you would have to take if I wanted to become a teacher.
Okay, so the great thing about education is that no matter what field you're in, there's always a need for an educator in that field. So even if you know you had a career choice, well, of course, it should never be a second option. But, you know, if you have a degree in something, you can always be a teacher in that area of specialization. So that's the good news about that. So anybody who comes, I tell them that whatever you're interested in, there's somebody who has to teach other people about that area. So if you have a passion to share knowledge, teaching
So I'm
is
going to
for
put
you.
you on the spot. Did you always want to become a teacher?
Always.
Oh,
No
that's
backup.
And how has your experience in teaching been so far?
It's been great. I mean, it is what you make of it. There are challenges, but, you know,
And how has
despite.
the response been to the whole career in education thing so far from the students that have visited the booth?
So they're not educated, they're not interested in teaching, not a lot, but they were interested in doing the trivia, and through that at least they were able to find out more about the profession. So
Okay. So do you think, how many people do you think you've convinced so far for the day?
convinced, I think they wanted to be teachers already. I'd say like 2 out of a lot. Yeah.
And of course, as a teacher, you might be a little biased, but can you tell us the weight that you think the profession of teaching holds in Anguilla specifically today?
Right. Well, I mean, of course, you always hear that teachers, create other professions. And although it's sort of cliche by now, it is true. It's very important. And as we're becoming more developed and we're more exposed to the outer world, we kind of lose a lot of the values or just things about Anguilla or small things about our culture and so on, that hopefully through education, through teaching, we are able to sort of resuscitate and make valuable again, and hopefully that would pass on to the students, and when they go out into society, they can make those things a priority again.
All right. And I know that you said that no matter what your degree is in, you can be a teacher. But
Yes.
is there a specific degree that if I know I want to be an educator, that I can study to become that? Or do
Yeah.
I just go out and if I want to teach geography, I get a degree in geography first?
So you can get like a B.Ed in different areas of specialization. That's where you would start if you want to become a graduate teacher. So that would include your teacher's training as well. If you do your area of specialization first and you decide you want to become a teacher after that, you would still have to go through some sort of teacher's training. So currently, the Anguilla Community College offers a very good program from BTech that people can apply to.
So on average, how many years of study do you think it would take to become a graduate teacher?
So graduate would really just mean that you have the degree in that area, and it depends on what you're studying. So that varies. I did 3 years because I did literatures in English, but someone else doing a science might take longer. And if I did a B.Ed, that might take an additional year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so in terms of the relationship with students,
Yes.
do you think that that's the most fulfilling part of teaching? The relationship with them in the classroom, or what you get to see them become?
It's both. Well, this is my
Both?
student right here behind the camera, so
You're beaming with
he
pride.
can tell you, yes, yes, it is definitely rewarding. And even, when you don't remember every single name, they come up to you and they're like, "You are my favorite teacher," and it was like, "Huh? What?" And the impact that you make on them and their lives, it's permanent, and it really is rewarding.
Well, I know that you said that you only reached probably about 2 as they came to the booth, but I'm
Yeah.
hoping that somebody over the live was able to be inspired by you. I felt inspired.
Thank
So
you.
that was Mrs. Connor representing for the educators and the teaching in profession.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. We are live on Facebook with the ALHCS Careers Fair 2021, brought to you by the Department of Education. And we are currently visiting the Two Sons Funeral Home. So let us know some of the questions that you have been getting, because every student I've seen here so far seems very engrossed in what you've been saying. So you must be doing something right.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Assistant Funeral Director Leon Christie. Along with me, I have Devonna Richardson, another Assistant Funeral Director here at Two Sons Funeral Home. Some of the questions that we have been getting, as in one of the questions I just got, is would I be able to handle dealing with a close family member of mine? If I would prefer that family member to be sent to another funeral home. For me, I would prefer to deal with that person myself.
I did not expect that answer, so go ahead and explain why.
It would bring some level of closure and comfort to myself along with other family members, knowing that I wouldn't say a good job, that everybody will be pleased with the job that's done. Because how could you Devon had an experience as well, because we dealt with his dad, Wycliffe Richardson. So, yeah. I don't know how to put it.
So when you say deal with, walk us through the process of what you do when you are planning a funeral.
Okay, well, really and truly, we do the behind the scenes work. The office work and the administrative work is done by Jasmine, our Auntie Jasmine. Right? They handle all of the planning and read orders, every single thing. All the office work. We do the removals, preparation, dressing, funeral day.
I like how you're talking about this like it's normal, right? Because I know to the average person that comes up to your table, don't they have that fear of dealing with, the deceased?
Yes, I have had a couple of students, as soon as they got here, they wanted to know if the casket was used already.
But was it?
No.
Okay.
It's, I would say after a while, it gets easier. I would not say comfortable, because every case that you deal with is different. Some more touching than others. So after a while, it gets a bit easier. You get to flow with it.
And I mean, on a daily basis, all the other booths will be talking about the customer service aspect of it, but what is that like for you? You're dealing with grieving families in one of the most difficult times of their life. That must be hard, to deal with them. So tell us some practical examples of how you deal with that.
You have to have a lot of patience and a lot of tolerance, because certain things that persons say when they're grieving, they don't necessarily mean it.
Right.
It's just that at that time, emotions high, tensions high, you just want to get it over with. So you say things you don't necessarily mean. It's just that you just want it to be over with. And some persons would prefer not to deal with it, but only because they seem to be the stronger link within the family. They have to do it. But
Yes. And tell us about your display that you have here. This looks like a cross between a blender and a cotton candy machine. But I'm sure it's not used for any of those things. So you go ahead and you tell me.
We have been asked about cotton candy, popcorn, juice maker.
Yeah, you see, I was going to ask, but I'm saying, why would they need that at Two Sons Funeral Home? So you go ahead and tell us what it's really used for.
So this is an embalming machine. One of the many devices or machines we use in the prep room during the preservation process, right? Here we have some of the embalming fluids that we use. We have different tools that we use in the prep room during the preparation process. We have...
I'm not gonna lie, those look scary.
These here are used with the embalming machine. This as well is used with the embalming machine as well. It's a clamp. During the process, before you get to the embalming machine, this here is used in the chest cavity. And these are two lovely little tools we use to help us find arteries and veins and whatnot inside. The little extra touchy stuff that you have to be extremely careful with.
Again, you're talking about that like it's normal. Well, go ahead.
We also have body bags that we use mainly for cases with the police, coroner cases, where an autopsy has to be done. We have disposable coveralls that we use for decomposed cases. We go for decomposed bodies. We have one of our many caskets is an air sealer. One of our top shelf caskets. So we say top shelf.
Cost the big money.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. It's part of it. Behind of us we have the lowering device that we use in the cemetery.
And
It should speak for itself.
Right. I would ask, is there a stigma attached to this profession that would have prevented you or deterred you from readily going into it?
Only the idle talk of ghosts and zombies following you.
So
And
are you
not
going to
being able to
dispel
see.
some rumors first, or are you saying that those are real?
That is all in your mind. It's a state of the mind. State of the mind. Because we have been in this for a good amount of time. From the time we were little, grew up around it. So, as you say, it comes normal. It feels normal. It feels normal.
Well, you two seem to be very jovial for people that, deal with people in a not so jovial time. And I'm sure that that's part of it that's comforting, to the family. And it has been a very informative discussion. But there's just one thing. What did you say this was used for? Because
These
it looks
are
like
the-
it goes along with a cotton candy machine, but I just need to be sure.
Yes, it does. These are the different embalming fluids. Different fluids for different cases, for different jobs. Each fluid does something different to the body within the preservation process.
And I would imagine that it's hard to have a satisfied customer in your field. But have you ever had one, and what does that look like in a time of bereavement?
A dissatisfied customer?
A satisfied one.
Satisfied customer.
Yes.
Oh, well, we've had many satisfied customers.
Well,
And you would more
did you
see
hear that
them-
vote of confidence?
You would more see the satisfaction the day before the funeral. We are not 100% of the emotions are there, where they are still in some sort of shock or in denial. That's where you would see the satisfaction. That's where you also see the dissatisfied customers as well, where you would hear they have this issue, that issue, the other issue, but 99% of the time, we have satisfied
In
customers.
terms of somebody that wants to go into this field, is there anything that they should be looking to study now?
Science,
Sciences. All three of them, you're saying?
all the science.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
it's a lot.
Wow.
It's a lot in terms of dealing with the chemicals, knowing the structure of the respiratory system and all other organs within the body.
So you're basically a doctor for the deceased, is what you're saying?
Basically.
Right.
Basically. Because it all plays a part. All plays a part. Because in the different mortuary science degrees, you have psychology, anatomy of the body, several different things you have to go through. It runs along the line of being a pathologist, a medical examiner, as well as a forensic scientist. So you would see from time to time we work along with the police in the crime scene investigation unit.
They also had some weird contraptions and fluids.
also.
So that makes sense.
So they have some tools like a saw we use during autopsies, scales, several different equipment. So we work hand in hand with the police.
Well, Christy and Devani, it's been a very fun, which I did not expect at this booth presentation, and I hope you get a lot more interest as the day goes by from the students.
We have, and we are hoping to have that as well. We are hoping to have that as well.
And I hope I don't have to deal with you anytime soon.
I wouldn't want that.
What is this?
Hello.
Again, we are live on Facebook, brought to you by the Department of Education at the ALHCS Careers Fair 2021. And we are here at the booth for Radio Anguilla, no stranger to the Anguillian public. And we are here with the one and only Miss Farah Banks and their marketing officer, Miss Misha Richardson. So how has the intake from the students been so far for the day? Have you been getting a lot of students interested in radio?
We definitely have been getting a lot of students. I wouldn't say the interest is where we want it to be, but we have been seeing the students pass through. And I recognize this from years before, and so I come with a little preparation. I have a little lollipop as a little bribe.
You have goodies.
To get them attracted to the table. But in order to earn a lollipop, you have to actually listen to our spiel and pay attention and, have some interest in it. So
I think there's a stigma attached to radio that it's not really a social profession, that you just sit in a booth by yourself all day and you speak to people who don't really speak back, right? Can you dispel some of those rumors or give us a little more insight into
that's
what you do?
That's exactly what we're doing. That's what we're trying to let them know, that there's so many different areas in Radio Anguilla and in broadcasting in general that they can focus on as a career or even just a job if they want to pass through or if they want to make it a career, because I made it a career, and so it is possible. I tell them if they are interested in English A, English B, then announcing is something that they can do. Theater arts is a subject that they have available at CSEC and Cape now. That's definitely something that can gear them up for a career as an announcer, as a program manager in the studio. If you're interested in business, if business is your strong subject, math, you can think about sales and marketing. You understand, where the officer would go out to the businesses in the community and try to make money for the station through that. You also have our technician. Our technician has to ensure that the sound quality of the radio is good through the proper working, proper functioning of our equipment. So he has to make sure that all the equipment is working properly and, we sound good on air. And you have so many different things that you can do. If you have whatever your favorite subject is, you can find something that can connect you to it. Geography, for the weather, for the world, So, we not only report on what's going on in Anguilla, but also the region and the world. So geography, if that's your strong subject, this is something that you can use with us. IT, you need IT for everything. And so, these are the things we've been trying to get through to the students.
Well, I think one of those rumors that we're looking to dispel is that something in radio is just a job. It's just a job. But you just outlined for us how it can be a career. So if I was looking to go into the career field, what are some of the steps in terms of education after high school that I would have to look into?
Yeah, it just basically focusing on the subjects that I mentioned. And what I told them about is, we used to call it back in my day, job training. Now it's a summer placement through the same Miss Ruan at the Career and Guidance Counseling Unit at the Albina Lake Hatch Comprehensive School. I started working at Radio Anguilla as a job training student, a summer placement student. One of our popular announcers as well, he started with summer placement. And so it is something that can get your foot in the door, will allow you to get a little bit of experience and understand what really happens throughout the department, let you understand that there are many different areas you can focus on. And then when you get back in school after the summer is done, and you can pay more focus or give more focus to the subjects that can help you to get into a career such as this.
Right, and we're trying to shed light on a lot of things. So I know, for example, in 2020 going into 2021, COVID-19 was all the rage. And so when we think about COVID-19, we think about the frontline workers. So we're thinking about doctors and nurses and all of those on the front line. But I'm sure that journalism and radio had a part to play in the process. So can you tell us, so that people can know that there are other superheroes out there besides the doctors and nurses, and possibly looking to get into this profession?
Right, I feel like we definitely are frontline, because even for the short period that we shut down in Anguilla, we still had a lot of work to do. Where even if we were working, some of us from home, we still had a lot to do. So we were able, luckily through technology, which is something that we're pushing all day, we were able to do a lot of our work from home. We don't now, with COVID-19, when the premier couldn't come into the station to record an address, he would record it on his phone and send it via
and
WhatsApp.
See, that's something
we
we
share
don't
it
know.
with the station. You know, you convert it so that it's an MP3, so that it can be played on air, and we just roll with the punches and use whatever we have to be able to send the message out, because it was critical at that time to be able to send information out, you know, just like that.
Exactly, and even in the room right now, everybody is focused on the Titanium
Yeah,
booth,
that's
which we will
taking up
get
the
to.
whole show. Everybody need to get
in
a
a
career
minute.
at Titanium Audio Visual.
even the
This is what it's
artists-
all about today.
Right, even the artists, when they're not live performing, they need an outlet, right?
Exactly.
If not, the artists don't have work, and that is another part that I'm sure that radio plays.
Yes.
So I think that it's a career field that, after speaking with Ms. Banks, I'm sure that you realize that there's more to it, and there are definitely frontline workers out there that do not include the medical field, right? Yes. And I don't know if Misha has anything to add as marketing officer.
I was telling the students, like even the business students, let me take off the live, even the business students, there are other careers at Radio Anguilla, because most persons get a perception that it's just the announcers and broadcasters and the technician, but I have to go out into the local environment and look for ads from different businesses. I have to create scripts from persons who don't send in their stuff. So I mean, it's diverse.
There's
It's
something
not
for
exactly.
everybody.
We have a secretary/accountant. So, you know, it's very diverse, because we still have to have, I would like to say, what is that? Not a situation, a structure that is not only broadcasters. We have our program officer, he's here, but he's with another type of radio. You have to have qualifications, as I should say, not just, Farah was telling the students, if you're good in English A, English B, drama, what was that? Theater arts, it's good, because you know on the radio you gotta have some sort of personality. It's not just you're just reading an old how. So at Radio Anguilla, I like to encourage persons to even visit us sometimes, because there's some students that don't even know where Radio Anguilla is. It was encouraging for us to hear. I was asking a student, do you listen to Radio Anguilla? He was like, no, my dad listens, so I overhear. So even though radio is an old form of media, I think that the younger population needs to engage themselves more. And that's why being live, because you know, live on Facebook and other forms of social media now is intertwined with radio. So
correct.
if you are scrolling Facebook, chances are you're going to see us on the radio doing something. You're going to stop to find out, let me see what's going on. Even if you don't stay on it, you're going to want to know what's going on. So I think that's how we capture a lot of the younger folks through the live. And I would like to encourage all the younger people and the people who are not on Anguilla's Facebook page to like or follow Radio Anguilla.
And I wanted to finally say that one of the other selling points that we were using is that in radio...
Besides the candy.
Besides the candy, besides the candy, in broadcasting, it is always something new. It is the least boring job that you can find. The news changes every single day, whether on the island, in the region, or in the world. News is fresh every day. Music comes out every day. New music comes out every week. New artists come out. And so it's always changing. The technology has changed over the years. I've been using these little things that we have here to show them because we know one of our artists, Banky Banks, we have a record that he put out in the 70s. We have a cassette that he put out in the 80s. And we have a CD that he put out in the 90s. So we've been trying to show them how technology has advanced over the years. And in some cases, very rapidly. And we just have to keep up with it.
Right. And that is really...
Oh, yeah. It's no online. That's what I've been doing this and saying. And here is what his music looks like now. It's nothing to be held. It's digital. He can send it on WhatsApp. He can send it via email. You know, and technology really helps us a lot in these times. I've been telling the students that people hardly send email, not hardly, but they send emails a lot less now than they did before. They usually, as long as they have your number, they'll communicate via WhatsApp. And usually get better responses that way as well. So, you know, we just have to roll with technology. And as Misha said, incorporate the Facebook because this is where how you find the younger people. We have our website. We've had it for years. But people aren't going to go to your website. But they're going to go to their Facebook. So we got to meet them where they are.
So if you're watching on the live and you have not come down to the Radio Anguilla booth yet, look, they have candy. They have from the records to the CDs, and they have the digital. And as you heard, Misha's into marketing, and I'm sure that Farah also works with the theater arts department as the external examiner. So it is definitely not a career that will hold you down, hold you back. There's room to grow, spread your wings, and it's very diverse. And that is a career in Radio Anguilla. Thank you, ladies. Good afternoon. We continue with our coverage on the Department of Education page of the ALHCS 2021 Careers Fair. And we are here at the meteorology booth with Mr.
KJ Thomas.
And he's an air traffic controller, and you are?
Aiden Hazard, a meteorological officer.
All right. And so we have two things represented here.
Yes.
So you're going to go first because you have the mic, right?
Okay, so I am a meteorological officer, and as the name suggests, we are meteorological officers. My bad, you know.
She's over here hiding behind the display.
Yeah, she created it. She put a lot of effort into it. So from the display board, we can see that meteorology is the main aspect of our job. So meteorology is a science of the atmosphere. And what we do for ASPA, we pay continuous attention to meteorological elements such as the clouds, winds, the rain, and atmospheric pressure. So we relay those information to air traffic control or other persons in meteorology, such as forecasters, to create forecasting models. And, you know, as we deal with aviation, we work very closely with aviation, so we provide those information to them to prevent any accidents so,
in the air.
Yeah. With landing as well. So like the wind, the gusts, you gotta be able to relay those information.
So tell me about your display here, because I was over there by Tucson's and they had something almost similar. I thought it was for cotton candy, popcorn, something. I'm sure yours isn't for that either.
No.
So let me know what this is used for.
First I'll explain what this is for, and then I'll pass it to Tawana to explain this is a tipping re-engage bucket, right? Ticking, yeah. So this is a barograph. It gives you the atmospheric pressure. It displays the atmospheric pressure for a long period of time. This one gives it for a week. So we put it on Monday and we take it off on Sunday. And as you can see, it fluctuates. The atmospheric pressure fluctuates. You know, if something like a hurricane was happening, the atmospheric pressure would have gone way below the graph, you know, so because of a low pressure system. So, you know, that will indicate what type of systems are around there. And this is the...
Okay, this is the tipping bucket rain gauge. When the rain falls, it comes into this. If it gets too heavy, it will tip. If rain continues to fall, it will continue to tip again. And it's collected here. This is actually electrical. So it reads and it gives the information to the Met Office. All our information is actually collected and sent to like the US. So people could actually start to like plan for the hurricane season, plan to know when we're going to have droughts, when we're going to have rain, so on and so forth. This is a reconnaissance balloon. It has a little box in this. So it goes up into the atmosphere and it tells the weather. It actually pops as well and it comes back down. Sometimes fishermen will actually find it and they return it to the Met Office. These are automatic weather stations. Sometimes you go to actually get information, but mostly all the information comes to the office. This is a Stevenson screen. Every 6 hours, we'll go and read the temperatures. Also, rainfall is read every 6 hours as well. And like this, is a thunderstorm. This is very important piece of information because pilots do not like to fly through these. If they can avoid it, they will. So it's very important. When you hear thunder, you see lightning, you send out a special report. It's going to happen anytime within the hour to the tower, and they will relay this information to pilots and whoever needs this information. That's about it. I'll pass it on to Kenche.
Okay, but before you go, tell us about the subjects needed, the qualifications needed, the years of study, if any, that you would have to do, especially after now going into the tertiary level.
For this, this meteorology is actually a mathematics and science based. You need mathematics, you need physics, you need geography. There are many types of meteorologists. You can be a broadcaster on TV, you can be a forecaster, you can work for the army, so on and so forth. I think they started to do space meteorology as well, so that's really interesting to do as well. Actually, for us, we did our 8-month training in Barbados. It's a very intense course. We did calculus, learning about instruments, how to like fix instruments as well. There are different classes. I'm currently doing class 3, where it involves programming, climatology, so on and so forth.
Thank you. That was very informative. So let's move on now to our air traffic controller.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenji Thomas, and I'm representing Air Traffic Services as an air traffic controller. A big part of my job and what is basically the motto of air traffic control is the safe, orderly, and expeditious flow of traffic in that specific order. So safety is a priority in aviation. You don't want other aircraft hitting each other. You want to make sure that aircraft arrive and depart on time. Orderly, maintaining an orderly fashion, making sure that aircraft maintain their specific routes, make sure aircraft aren't in conflict with other aircraft, and expedition. Because when it comes to air traffic control, it's a very fluid job, and anything can happen at any moment in time, so you have to be very expeditious with how you walk. Expedition comes in as well as you wouldn't want to have aircraft delays, because if one aircraft is delayed, another aircraft will get delayed because of that aircraft, and so on and so forth. So, you know, sometimes you might sit down in St. Martin and in your plane and be wondering why it is we take it so long, There's a bunch of coordination, everything is going on, but just know that us air traffic controllers are trying to do our best to make sure they are as
You sound like you're always under pressure.
Yeah, especially like during the Christmas season. Christmas season is during our peak. We get times where delays are inevitable, but we try our hardest to make sure that aircraft can come in and depart on time as quickly as possible, but keeping the safety and keeping the orderly aspect first before the expedition part of it. We don't want to rush things and then compromise safety.
Okay, given that Anguilla usually has a very small airport, Do you think that this career is in high demand right now? Are there lots of air traffic controllers? Is there an overflow, or is there a need in this area?
You're referring to regionally or specifically to Anguilla?
Well, both at this point.
Regionally, there's a demand. In Anguilla, there's a slight demand as well. Things in Anguilla, especially during the aviation, in the aviation sector, are booming right now. We have a lot of local airlines that are purchasing more aircraft. We have a lot more foreign aircraft that are coming in, and with the whole talks about expansion and everything, we're going to need more persons on staff to be ready and willing to come in at any moment's notice.
And are the qualifications the same as meteorology, or you need different qualifications, different subject areas for?
The qualifications are basically the same. English is a prerequisite for aviation because English is the national language of aviation. Everywhere you go, whether it be Spain, whether it be Brazil, Russia, China, you have to speak English as long as there are other English-speaking persons. So if you're good in English or if you're proficient in English, that's a prerequisite. Maths is also a prerequisite for this type of job that we do too, because a lot of what we do requires a lot of quick maths. And physics as well is a helpful part of it, along with geography. Geography is basically mandatory, a prerequisite as well.
Well, this has been an informative discussion, and we were over by Radio Anguilla, and they were saying that they were using the little sweets to entice the kids to come to the booth. And I see that you have lollipops as well, and there are not many left. So does that mean that you've had a good set of students coming to the booth? You had to buy more. Okay, so there is an interest in these two fields, you would say. So the future is bright for air traffic control and meteorology. Awesome. It was great speaking with you, gentlemen and lady. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Good afternoon once again. We are live on the Department of Education Facebook page with the ALHCS 2021 Careers Fair. We are here at the Anguilla Social Security Board's booth, and I must tell you, it is one of the prettier displays today.
Thank you.
So,
prize for display.
and they say that with pride, yes? So can you go ahead and let us know? I know everybody knows of Social Security, but everybody doesn't know what a career in Social Security entails. So can you go ahead and break that down for us?
Well, there's a number of careers in Social Security. There are a number of business oriented type careers, a number of customer service careers, and there's also the debt collection aspect of it. There's the finance and accounts aspect of it. We have a couple of departments in Social Security that deal with finance and accounts, and we have a contributions department, we have a benefits department, we have, as I alluded to before, our customer service and public relations section, and our human resources department, and also our inspectors, which are like, I suppose you could call them the police of Social Security, even though we don't like to highlight it in that light. So certainly we have a number of careers there that people may be interested in, and we also take this opportunity here at this career fair to talk about to have the opportunity to talk about the benefits for our customers, businesses and individuals alike. They all are our customers. Once you are above the age where you can work, once you're working, once it's not illegal, you can get your Social Security card. So it's not just the careers, but it's also the information about customers' benefits and what they need to do as far as contributions.
Right, so we're trying to educate them on the fields that they can possibly go into at this age, especially the seniors. And so basically what you're saying, there are different departments which would call for different qualifications, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not a career path that would hold you down. There's room to spread your wings, there's
yes,
there's
indeed.
levels, and you can grow in the Social
Absolutely.
Security Board. Okay,
Indeed.
so tell us about your display. I see you have a number of things. I recognize the sick leave.
Sick leave form.
Have here, well, the cards that you see in front, we are displaying the various departments within the Social Security institution. And we have the Office of the Director, we have accounts, contributions and registration, benefits, internal audit, MIS, Management Information System and ICT, and we have the benefits department. So those are departments within Social Security, and within those departments, you have the different career fields that you can get into, management levels all through all the departments, and then of course specialization based on, so you can be an investment manager, you can be an internal auditor, you can be an accountant in the accounts department, a finance officer. So it's varied, public relations, statistics, officer, human resource. So it's varied.
Okay, so we're basically looking, if I wanted to start now preparing for a career in Social Security, we're talking about the business department mainly, based on what I'm hearing, and IT. Is there any other qualification or subject area that I'm missing probably that you would advise somebody that's looking into a career in Social Security to make sure they pick up now that they're in school?
Well, if it's marketing, finance, IT, math, applied math.
Did you hear the way she said math?
Communication studies, yes, because, and also, English, because maths and English are the basic requirements for any career. And we would like to highlight the soft skills as well, because in any work environment, you need soft skills. So it's all well and good to have the subject areas, but you need the soft skills as well, because that enhances your job.
Definitely. And Anguilla Social Security, again, is no stranger to the public of Anguilla. But I also see that y'all do quite a bit of community work. You sponsor this, you sponsor that, you sponsor. So tell us about the community aspect of what you do at Social Security.
Well, part of our mission is really for us, for community empowerment and all that, developing the community. And over the years, we have given back to the community because we see it is part of our mission in transforming our community into a better, and no better way to do that than to give back and to help to build the community. So whether it's in education, whether it's in sports, whether it's in health, whether it's in youth development, or on a national level, we have played our part over the years, and we continue to play our part.
Definitely. And then COVID-19, of course, would have impacted 2020 going into 2021. And we were talking to some of the other professions, and we always think about frontline workers as being the doctors and the nurses, But I'm sure that Social Security would have had a heavy part to play in the impact of COVID-19 in Anguilla. So can you tell us about that so that people can really understand the importance of a career in Social Security?
Majorly because we have provided the temporary unemployment benefit program for COVID-19. This is something that we did in 2017 with the impact of Irma. So it was not difficult for us to implement it again because we did it once, it was successful, and we did it again. And this, although the benefit was small, because some people see it as only $1,000, it went a long way, because what initially was supposed to be 3 months, we're still paying the benefit today. So this is one way, because without that, as small as it is, without that benefit, a lot of families we don't know what they would have done, because a lot of families depended on it, and it helped to rescue a lot of families.
And so in your own right, you are a frontline worker, right?
Yes.
So I think that's important in people seeing the importance of the profession, because everybody's rushing to the booth with the firearms and the nice substances or whatever.
Yes, Yeah, we felt lonely over here. Everybody's just bypassing us. Don't need that, don't need that. But you do need Social Security because Social Security is a social safety net. And we're the only safety net that Anguilla has. And so it's important that everybody understands what Social Security is and the importance of it and how it benefits them.
Right, and in terms of job security, as long as people are employed, you will need Social Security, correct?
Yes.
Right, so
Yes.
it is a career field that can keep on giving well beyond just one post.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it was very informative. Definitely seeing the different departments within the Social Security Board. I did not know, right? You know, we see the claims and we see the benefits, and I know that there must be a human resources, but definitely showcasing that we need finance, we need accounting, we need ICT, we need auditors, and of course human resources. It definitely one place employs so many different careers. And
Yes.
so I can be an accountant, work at Social Security, right? I can be into IT and work in Social
Yes.
Security. So it does not hold you down.
Nope.
Well, this was a very informative discussion. I learned a lot. I hope our viewers learned a lot.
I hope
and
they
I hope
did
you weren't
too.
lonely anymore.
Thank you for visiting us and giving us the opportunity to explain more about Social Security and our presence here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
thinking that our booth is the best.
So if you have not come down to the ALHCS 2021 Careers Fair, please visit the Social Security booth. There's lots of information and career opportunities waiting for you here.
Certainly. Thank you.
Broken down and tired of living life.
And right now on camera, I'm sure you can see this is the setup for Titanium Audiovisual, our streaming provider for this live. This has been all the rave at the Careers Fair this year. And as you can see, it is quite an impressive setup. Right now, we have a live impromptu performance.
Mountains, and I rise up high like a day. I rise up in spite of the aches. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I rise up high as a wave. I rise up in spite of the aches. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. When the silence is not quiet and living life is getting hard to breathe, I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains, take it to its feet and move mountains. And I rise up high like a day. I rise up in spite of the aches. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. We all need hope. For that we got each other. For that we got each other. And I'll rise up high like a day. I'll rise up in spite of the aches. I'll rise up. rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again for you.
That was an awesome display from the Titanium Audiovisual booth. And now we're going to go and talk to the men behind the gadgets, find out what it takes to put on this lighting, the screens, sound, find out what a career in this field would need in terms of qualifications. So let us speak to the man with the plan, Mr. Garion Fleming. Okay, so we are here finally at the Titanium Audiovisual booth. We've gone around to the other booths, but we can always hear something in the background is happening over here. So let us know what's inspired your setup today.
What inspired my setup? I've been doing this for, let's see, what? Since I was since the beginning actually. Like I would set up, like before the event, before the careers fair, like day before I would come in my school uniform from school, set up something in the back of there, 2 lights flashing, the little I knew, and then come the next day. So like when it was my turn to come, I would come down from class, and then I would stay here the entire day. I wouldn't go back to class. And each year we did it. Each year it grew, along with my knowledge. I would never do what I did back then again. And over the years, after I left school, we started to grow, started to do international, regional shows and stuff, and started to get equipment. And I said, why not? So like, and then during these times, I have nothing doing, so like it wasn't a hassle to do all of this spectacular stuff.
Well, your booth has been drawing quite the crowd, and you know, with the young people, that means you're probably inspiring quite a few of them to go into this field. So can you give us an idea of the workload or the qualifications and subjects needed to pursue something like this in audiovisual?
Well, a lot of it people don't see, like the behind the scenes especially. There's a lot of math involved, especially like with all this rigging and stuff. So like the weight loads and stuff, power loads, power distribution, universes, even programming, computer programming, electrical work, is actually even metal work in it too. But I didn't go to school for it, so it's not something that's very hard to learn. You just have to be dedicated and want to do it in order to.
Awesome. So in terms of the people that work with your team, I know that you said there is a need for electrical engineers. What other kind of people do you need on your team to make something like this happen?
Basically anybody with a passion, anybody with a drive. If you're interested, you're gonna learn. I must say, and if you have a skill outside, like electrical skill, that's just gonna make it much easier for you to learn and understand. Because most of this is just tied in together. Like when I design, it's just like AutoCAD, but it's just a different software for lighting. Even computer programming, when I program the lights, it's the same thing, but just with a different word or something. But it's basically all the same.
And would you say in Angola that there's a high demand for this field?
I think I created the demand. Even in the region, I think I created the demand because people usually took lighting for granted until I started to say, like, I used to go to trade shows and stuff, and it's like, why can't we do this here? Why is no one doing it here? It's very easy. and I just took it to the next level, and then everyone saw like this was going somewhere, and they said like, okay, why not? And that's how I got like my first outing was in Dominica, working with an international company, and ever since then they were like, yeah, you're coming every year since.
So you're basically telling us that this career field allows for travel.
Yes, it does. It does actually. Once you have the knowledge and the will.
And once you get into the field and you want to elevate yourself some more and go to the next level in it, is there a qualification that you would need for that or something that you can study in particular?
For lighting, there's no textbook for lighting. It's just like a pencil. You could teach someone how to use a pencil, but you can't tell them what to do with it. You just let it up to your creativity and just flow with it from there. But there's no specific handbook as to what to do for lighting.
So what I'm basically hearing is that anybody can do what you're doing. So this is probably why everybody has been flocking to this booth, because it looks amazing, it sounds amazing, and anyone can do it.
Right. Yes.
So do you have any advice for the people who are coming to you? What have you been telling them?
I've basically just been answering their questions. I think just the show alone inspires them. I don't need to say much more about that. It's not something you see every day. I see it every day, but it's just looking at it is just going to be interesting alone by itself. Some advice I would give is if anyone looking to come into this industry from before they came here, just keep pushing and try and stick around it. So like if you go to a concert, don't be with your friends by the bar. Go and check out, see what these guys doing, see how the things work and that kind of stuff.
Well, you heard it from the man with the plan, Garion Fleming of Titanium Audiovisual, who are also responsible for the streaming of this live on the Department of Education Facebook page. So tell us about that, because that means that it's more than lights and sound. You're also into streaming.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm not into the streaming part, but it did start with me. It was it's actually a COVID child. So when the lockdown, just before the lockdown was removed, we decided to do a live stream event, and we found a location. We did it in a warehouse, and like I was the front for it, and like everyone was like dragging their feet with the idea, and I was like, no, let's go, because we just got back our container from St. Martin, and I was like, no, we got to get this unpacked. We did the whole production in like about 3 days from the beginning. So like we had unpacked the container, figure out how to stream in the first place, find cameras to stream. We teamed up with Pink Mako and those guys, and they really came through and helped us out. And I believe that's where In Anguilla was formed. But my dad did the rest of it, because after that I was done with it. I did what I wanted to do.
Awesome. Well, it has been great speaking with you and the team. So that goes to show you that there's more than one way to skin a cat in audiovisual, okay? We have lighting, we have sound, and now we've added live streaming to the mix, and that means that there's careers for everybody in this field. This has been the Department of Education live stream from the ALHCS Career Fair 2021. We did not get to feature all of the careers due to time, space constraints, but I hope that this live was able to inspire someone watching to go into one of the careers presented here. From the Department of Education and Titanium Audiovisual, have a good evening.